Two dead, two in critical condition after shooting in Palatka, police say. This was written by Aaron Farrar and Bella Casapao for newsforjax.com. I hope I did not butcher your names. This was originally published on September 4th, 2022. So, Putnam County, Florida. Two people are dead and two more are in critical condition following a shooting in Palatka, according to the Palatka Police Department. A fifth person was also hurt in the incident after they were beaten with a blunt object, police said. This is carnage. This is mayhem. This is the United States of America. I want to say that in many other countries, people have physical disputes, they have arguments, they have fights, they can settle them with their hands. Sometimes they stab, as we hear about in the UK or in Canada. But in the US, people have easy access to weapons to allow them to do mass carnage, mass levels of violence, and this does not need to be the case. We need to get rid of the guns in America because more incidents like this will continue to happen, and this will not be on the mainstream news because the body count isn't high enough, or because it's happening in a place in the country that most people don't care about, or they assume that these are poor, uneducated people and possibly of an ethnic group or racial group that we do not like or we do not deem valuable in society. But all lives are valuable, and which is why I make this content. I'll continue reading. Officers said shots rang out just before 11:45 p.m. Saturday night on the North 18th Street outside Vick's Supper Club. Captain Matt Newcomb of the Palatka Police Department said there was a large group standing in a parking lot when an argument broke out. A witness who lives near the scene said they heard loud music coming from the area, then it got quiet. The witness said after the music stopped, they heard about 4 or 5 shots. So I don't know if Vick's Supper Club is a restaurant or if it's a nightclub. What a confusing name. I don't know. I don't care because every time people congregate in the U.S. for, at restaurants, at clubs, at festivals, at events, anytime people come together in the U.S., there is always, always, always a threat of lethal force, of violence, of gunshots ringing out because we live in a third world nation. We live in a country that does not value other human lives. We see the gun as more worthy of being protected than actual human lives. And all these right-wing people in Florida, I'm not saying that the people who did this were right-wing or left-wing. It does not matter because all lives are valuable. But all these right-wing reactionary nuts in the U.S. were so happy that abortion just got banned in many states, or they're trying to ban it now that the Supreme Court repealed Roe v. Wade. They're so happy that women now do not have the right to choose, but we as citizens, living actual human beings, do not have the right to choose to live in a society that values us, that allows the gun to permeate and proliferate, and allows more and more of our children to die in schools. The people on the right wing who are so adamant about protecting unborn fetuses, unborn babies as they call them, care nothing about the kids in Uvalde, care nothing about these people in Palatka, Florida, who just maybe had something very serious or very trivial, but it had to end in gun violence because we allow these guns to continue to flood in our society. Wake up, Americans. Wake up. All this stuff about keeping guns to keep us safe is bullshit. It does not make us safer. If you don't believe me, please watch my other videos. 4 people were taken to the hospital and 2 died from their injuries, police said. 2 others remain in critical but stable condition, according to police. All 5 people were transported to the Putnam County Medical Center and later airlifted to the trauma center. Wow. Wow. Look at all this money being wasted. We have to call helicopters to airlift people out of spots where people are being killed like we live in a war zone. Like we live in some third world, civil war torn nation. This is insane. This is literally insane. Rest in peace to the 2 people who lost their lives. I don't make these videos to try to get clout off of death at all. I show the utmost respect to the people who died, and I also advocate for the people who got shot, because too many times we hear non-life-threatening injuries or people were shot, but every time somebody is shot, it's a traumatic event. It changes their life forever. We don't know if they'll need permanent physiological, psychological help for the rest of their lives, if they'll need amputations, if they'll be paralyzed, or if they'll die from their injuries later. So this is nothing to mitigate. I'll continue reading. Putnam County Fire Rescue described the very chaotic and evolving scene in a Facebook post. The police have to post on Facebook because that's where the Americans are. We have to let them know on Facebook what is happening out in these streets. Let them know it's a war outside. Post. PCFR said victims were driven to the hospital by others in the crowd. Our crews arrived and managed the scene in the parking lot of the hospital, tending to numerous victims. First arriving units established command and immediately initiated care to multiple trauma alert patients. Initially, it was not known exactly how many people were shot and how many rescue resources would be needed. PCFR said command requested 5 medical helicopters, air transport units, ATUs to respond and had to coordinate landing them in the hospital parking lot. As a helicopter would land, another helicopter would be on approach to land, and actually, there were at least 3 helicopters on the ground at the same time. Is this Black Hawk Down? Seriously, so many Americans get shot. Now we need to airlift people to trauma centers. Do we not see how ridiculous this is as a nation? Now, somebody's going to jump into my comments and say, I was there that night, or I'm from Palatka, or I know people that were in this, and this fight was over X, Y, and Z. I don't give a flying fuck what the fight was about. People have disputes all the time, but we allow too many of our disputes to be settled with deadly force in the U.S. because we allow guns to permeate. This video is not about trying to villainize people in Palatka or villainize people in Florida. It's about villainizing the entire gun culture that permeates in America, which allow more and more and more and more Americans to be hurt and killed every year. I don't give a fuck if this was about some stupid argument between 2 guys or if this was about something very serious. It should never lead to gun violence. Violence is not the answer. Allowing guns to permeate in our society is not the answer either. I'll continue reading. According to investigators, multiple shots were fired and hit several parked cars in the area. They are looking into if the vehicles are related to the shooting. This is a tweet from Aaron Farrar. Breaking news, Palatka Police are investigating a shooting that happened outside the Vick Supper Club and Barbecue building. Is this a club or a barbecue place? What a confusing name for a restaurant or nightclub. There are more than 24 evidence markers in the street and part of the parking lot. According to Putnam County Fire Rescue Local 3529, multiple people were shot in multiple trauma alerts along with multiple medical helicopters. We are working to find out how many people were shot and their conditions right now. FDLE is also on the scene. Investigators said they have information on a suspect and are working towards leads in the ongoing investigation. Police said they cannot elaborate on what information they have, but said Sunday afternoon it was determined there is no active threat to the community concerning the incident. Investigators said they are not releasing the victims' names until proper notification can be made with the next of kin. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the State Attorney's Homicide Investigative Team are assisting in the investigation. So, once again, more senseless gun violence in the U.S., more people settling their disputes with deadly force because they have access to, because they can, or because they believe it's their right, and it does not need to be this way. We can make a better world. We can make a better society. Let's put the guns down, and let's change our minds. The NRA has lied to us. The right-wing Republicans have lied to us. The Democrats have lied to us and said that the Second Amendment is foundational and that there's law-abiding and good gun owners. But too many Americans prove every single day that the good gun owners are obviously not stopping the bad gun owners and allowing all these good gun owners to purchase guns which eventually end up in the hands of criminals is only making our society worse. How many more Sandy Hooks need to happen? How many more Uvaldes need to happen, or Buffaloes happen, or shootings like this happen before Americans realize blood on the street is not worth the Second Amendment or the right to bear arms? My name is Simon Hill. Thank you for watching.